Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Football presented by BKCW. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined each and every day by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. We are 8 days away, so tell us who your favorite number 8 is. Tell us where you're checking in from, what you're drinking this morning. Get your questions in. Hey, guys, we are also, we'll get to those 8s here in a second. We're also 1 day away from the start of college football. And, Jerry, I know you're excited.
FSU fans are very excited. There he is.
For the state games like that.
FSU fans couldn't be more excited for that game in Dublin tomorrow. They're back.
8 a.m. It's an 8 a.m. central kick, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they not have lights in the stadium there, maybe? Is that why it's a daytime kick?
That's
Or
wild.
maybe it's too cold at night in Dublin this time of year. Who knows? Who knows?
Oh, man.
I thought we were going to show the other one. What was the other pick that Jerry actually
I can't get it to work.
Oh,
that's the problem. I couldn't get it going.
Hey,
So
bring
we had
that,
to go
bring that
with
FSU fan up again. Bring that FSU fan up one more time. We're 1 day away. All right, so look, think about when this was. Look how much dominance Dabo had over the ACC.
Ooh, 58-3. Oh,
Yeah, I think that's why he broke out the book.
I just like the Florida guys that have no farmer's tan. That's what I'm seeing there. He's retired and has no farmer's tan, my man.
The portal giveth to FSU, and the non-portal don't giveth to Clemson. All right, let's have fun. 8 days away. Who are our Longhorns, Blake?
All right, let's take a look, guys. Of course, we got the Shipley brothers, Jordan and Jackson. I don't think you can do a number 8 without mentioning them. And then remember Xavier Worthy at one time.
Hey, by the way, go back to that Shipley picture. Go back to that Shipley picture real quick if you can. Look at Lindy Holmes flying through the air on that Quan Cosby block.
That's the one who's perpendicular or parallel to the ground?
Yes, that's not Silas Bolden catching a pass. That is Lindy Holmes getting smoked by Quan Cosby.
So, yes, also Xavier Worthy. We got to mention him as well, wore number 8 before switching over to number 1. And then we also have Trey Moore looking to be a big part of the defense, guys. I know y'all are expecting big things from Moore this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to see Trey on the field. We were talking about him last night at the Dallas, Texas X's event, and everybody on the panel he's not a big guy. All of them, Alex Okafor included, by the way, last night, was like, he's not a big guy, but, when you have 14 and a half sacks, size may not be the thing, right? Yeah. And so we were all excited about seeing him.
That guy doesn't lose leverage battles.
Yeah, he's just good. I mean, those numbers matter.
Hey, can you bring up that Xavier Worthy pick one more time? I need to point out something else out. Iowa State may have the worst uniforms I've ever seen, that uniform, in college football. All right, keep going.
All right, so we got 2 more number 8s we're going to talk about this morning. One is a friend of this show, Cedric Griffin.
Yeah.
Ooh, national champ, Cedric Griffin.
That's
His
right.
son Swade is committed to Arizona right now, by the way, out of Laga Vista High. Dwayne Aquina, the defensive back coach at Arizona, took Swade. Congrats to Cedric and his family.
And then one other one, a current Longhorn tight end, Amari Knobloch.
That does not look like a tight end to me, Jerry. Look at those narrow shoulders.
Yeah, he's a wide receiver, athletically playing tight end. But I'm going to say this. If he scores 8 touchdowns this year, Texas has a good season.
All right. So I did a little recon, too, on some other number 8s. I got 2 that I remember. They're going to be people older in the chat than me or have other remembrances. I went with Rob Morishell, a quarterback athlete. He wore number 8. He was a big one for me. And then Van Malone. Not everybody remembers him, but he was out of Waltrip High School in Houston. Van is now on the defensive staff at Kansas State. He's had a long 25-plus year coaching career after a 5-6 year stint in the NFL for the Detroit Lions. So hats off to Van and Rob Morishell, wherever they are today. Good morning.
All right. Well, man, that's terrible, Bill. Our thoughts and prayers with you. He says, Mason, big fires out there. 3,000 acres already burned. Praying for rain without more lightning. So,
yeah, one of the best mascots in Texas high school football.
What is it, Jerry?
Cow punchers.
Yeah, Mason punchers. Well, it's decision day, decision weekend, a lot of recruiting stuff going on. But let's start with today, Jerry.
Yeah.
Big news coming down the pipe later today. Tell folks about it.
Yeah, Nick Brooks, 6'7", 365, originally from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, now at Grayson. He will announce his decision at 4 p.m. Eastern, so 3 p.m. Central. I don't know what time that is in Jakarta, where one of our people posted on Texas Football. They were catching a flight this morning. But he will announce this afternoon, 3 p.m., Texas, Georgia, USC, the 3 finalists. He was leaning to Georgia in the spring. He was a one-time Iowa commitment, leaning to Georgia in the spring. I've just continued to hear a lot of confidence since the June official visits on the Texas side. Nothing to change that. We'll see what he announces at 3 p.m. today. But that would I'm going to say that would be a big one for Texas. That's kind of having fun with these 6'7", 365. But look, he's a very high upside player. One of the things I want to point out about Nick Brooks was we have a discussion on OnTexasFootball.com on our decision day Nick Brooks thread is kind of Nick as a prospect. And one of the things I wanted to point out why all these guys aren't the same and we can't look at them through the same lens. And I watched a little bit of Grayson and Thompson at high out of Alabama last night. And I was watching that game thinking to myself, Nick Brooks has been to 4 high schools in 4 years, not by getting in trouble, doing things not by doing things that force you to move. It's been life circumstance. So he has had 0 high school football consistency, 3 different coaches, 3 different schemes, 3 different programs. Never really had a chance to even start his development, Bobby, in high school. That's why when you look at him, his first half of the season film and his second half of the season film looks like a totally different player. He plays his way into shape. But if you think about it, we talk about all the time, these kids, we just can't look at them through the same lens. I mean, Nick Brooks is in one of those situations where, again, 4 high schools in 4 years. Now, Cedar Rapids, JFK, 2 of those years. But that means freshman year one place, sophomore year at a private school in Alpharetta, back to Cedar Rapids as junior year. And now Grayson moves late in the summer before his senior season. That's not a kid who's even scratched the surface as a prospect, as a player, Bobby. Not even close.
People have to take time to develop. Now, some people you want to say, oh, it's add water, instant player, that whatever they do is great, etc. Sometimes it takes time for people to grow into their body and become the prospect that they actually can become and maximize. So I have no problem with taking that. The thing that you don't want to take is unathletic linemen.
Right.
Because that is what will come back and bite you in the butt. That's what will get you sacked more often than not.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with Nick Brooks. I think going to be a good addition to the Longhorn recruiting class. Jerry, I was thinking about this. I know a lot of people are concerned about the number of commitments Texas has right now, but the quality Texas has is really what you look at. And it's just a really good class top to bottom from a quality perspective. There's not any reaches in here, in my opinion. That's a big thing.
And then I totally agree. And then other prospects, obviously somebody's asking about Jonah Williams. Jonah Williams, we will not have coffee and football tomorrow, so we'll go over all these guys right now. Jonah Williams announces at 6:30-ish tomorrow on Saturday at the new Ball High Stadium there. He'll announce that decision. Continue to hear some positives about Texas. Nothing has changed. I'd put out 65% on Monday. I haven't backed off of that. I think LSU is it's Texas or LSU is where the decision comes from. Again, will he be the first to go out of state? Nobody's done it yet. We'll find out tomorrow at 6:30. Aiden Anding announces the corner out of Ruston on Saturday as well. That's expected to be LSU. I think I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Arkansas, Texas, those are your final 3 there. Then a week from today, and about, well, no, it'll at 8:30 Central Time, at 8:30 East Coast time. So I was looking at my clock on my computer. 7:30 Central Time, Jamie French will announce his decision on his mom's birthday, August 30th. Texas, Miami, Tennessee, LSU, the 3 and 4 schools, but Texas or Miami. And Texas has done a great job in this recruitment. They've had momentum for a while. They have the best relationship, I believe, with Jamie and his family throughout this recruiting process. Then you have Michael Terry, who will be at a later date, September, could be even in October. I think Texas is in a good spot there with Nebraska and Oregon chasing. Somebody asked about Man Faramo. That one could go a while. I've continued to say Notre Dame leads. I've continued to say if the longer it plays out, the better for Texas. Texas can get it back on campus. What if you have them on campus for the Georgia game? I mean, if you can. I mean, if you can get them for the Georgia game in a late October and Texas is having a good season, and that's going to be an atmosphere in a different way of looking at Texas for him and his family. So we'll see when Texas gets him back on campus. I think the 2 games really targeted for recruits, more than 25 guys right now, is Mississippi State first SEC game and Georgia. And some people say, well, what about Florida? Maybe, but that's an 11 a.m. kick. That's high school kids have some things on Saturday mornings sometimes, or if you're traveling from out of state, tougher deal to get there for an 11 a.m. game. Kentucky later in the season could be another game Texas looks to get some guys at. That's also just 2 weeks from signing day. And that is also during high school playoffs. Really, these kids are on the good teams who are playing week 2, week 3, week 4, and week 5 in the high school playoffs. And that is going to be right in the middle of the playoffs. So those dates are tougher to get guys on campus that you want to. So Mississippi State, Georgia games, I think, are things to look at. But some big decisions coming up here in the next 7 days.
All right, we got plenty more to talk about, and we'll be taking all your questions here shortly. But first, Bobby, can you tell folks about BKCW?
Yeah, absolutely. They try to get you and your business out of the insurance trap. BKCW takes you out of the insurance trap by providing you with actual risk management consulting, not just price quoting. Operating out of their headquarters in Austin and owned by a UT grad, BKCW uses a 5-step process to identify your business's weak spots, design a plan, execute it, and monitor your situation throughout the year so that you can lower your insurance costs and effectively manage your company's risk and employee benefits. BKCW has risk consultants that specialize in many different industries, from construction and transportation to nonprofits and school districts. You'll get matched up with someone who knows your risks at BKCW and can help you escape the insurance trap. Get started with a free risk assessment at bkcw.com or send an email to info@bkcw.com to get started and get you and your business the support you deserve.
Thank you, Bobby. And yesterday, guys, Jerry, you went out on the road to cover this, but an announcement was made by both Texas and Texas A&M. So I'm going to let y'all fill folks in that maybe didn't get to catch that.
Yeah, so essentially Cotton Holdings out of Houston area is going to be the sponsor of the Texas A&M game. That's essentially and the Cup, the Lone Star Showdown, the Cup, and all of that. I was there yesterday. No, it wasn't a club or a rave, as I would jokingly said on TexasFootball.com. It was well put together. Chris Del Conte was there. Obviously, Trev Alberts was there. Nobody came to blows or anything like that. It was all cordial. No Schlossnagle pictures or anything. All media was there. Texas A&M, everybody that covers the 2 programs are there. Craig Way was there, voice of the Texas. I don't know the guy's name. I can't remember. It's not Dave South anymore. But whoever it is for A&M, they were both there and kind of emceed the event a little bit early on. But Bobby, it was the one thing out of this the press conference afterwards where CDC took questions. He essentially said, no chance the A&M Texas game goes back to a Thursday. There's 3 NFL windows, so there's no chance that's happening. He did mention he would like to have it on Friday, though. Kind of the standalone Friday night type of setting game. That is something he seemed to have a preference for. People also asked about the Texas OU game. Would it ever move from the Cotton Bowl? He said no. There wasn't a lot that came out of it other than Cotton Holdings is obviously going to be the sponsor of the game and the cup. And then, by the way, RC Slocum was there yesterday as well, Bobby. Then kind of the plans for the game in the future were kind of the questions that he was asked.
Good to hear that RC was out and about. He's had some health issues. I want to say this. The funniest thing I thought out of it was the very opening statement by Chris Del Conte. He basically did a head fake on everybody and, said, oh, well, we're going to announce that this will be a neutral site game. We're going to be playing the first one in Dallas. And he goes, wait a minute, just joking. And I talked to not only you, but a couple other people there, and there were some jaws dropping in the area at the time.
He clearly reads the Twitter feeds.
Yes, he does.
Questions.
Yes, he does. And so that was actually funny. It confirmed what we reported earlier that there's no neutral site game for Texas A&M. It's not the same as OU. Hey guys, on that panel I did last night at the Texas X's, they actually asked a really good question. Doug Rice, the MC of the event, asked every panelist, what is the game you're most looking forward to this year? And we've talked about that here on this show. It was not unanimous even amongst the ex-players. A couple of them said A&M. One of them said Georgia. A lot of different teams on the list. Fozzie Whitaker said Arkansas. Was one he was looking for because he remembers 2 years ago or 3 years ago now when Texas went up there and got its head kicked in. And so I thought it was interesting. For me, I picked OU in one regard, and it wasn't necessarily what your game you're most looking forward to. It was the one that, you felt like you had to win. I feel like that's the one for me. OU, Texas let OU off the hook last year. Just plain and simple. Had the ball, a chance to go win, despite all the turnovers and somewhat erratic play in the first half. Had the ball and a chance to win if they could have closed it out, and they didn't close it out. Right? And Dylan Gabriel then just looked like he was going through, watered down. I don't even know a good analogy because I hate it so much to talk about it. But long story short, that's the one game I want Texas to avenge. But A&M, 13 years since Texas has played the Aggies, and I can tell you that is, I've got a strange feeling that's going to be a game for the ages, one way or the other. I really do. It is the start of it's the rekindling of a rivalry gone too soon. Hey, one other thing I want to mention. Somebody mentioned Ricky Churchman, defensive back that played for the Longhorns, is another number 8. Jerry, you may not know this, but he's from our neck of the woods. He went to high school over in Pearland.
Oh, wow. That's when Pearland was nothing.
Yes. No,
it was a small town.
Yeah, 3A school, probably a little small farming community. But he went to Texas, ended up playing for the 49ers. I think he has a Super Bowl ring with Joe Montana.
Hey, by the way, so I got a couple of things. I've thought about that since the question. Which game are you looking forward to the most? And I'm going to say Michigan for 3 reasons. One, they have won 28 regular season games in a row. Second, only Georgia's won more. That's a chance to go up there and beat the defending national champions and break the second longest winning streak and wins the next time the two teams are going to play again. There are not many times you get to go play the defending national championship on their turf when they've won 28 regular season games in a row. And it's at one of the blue blood places that when will Texas play there again? That one sets the tone for the season to me. I'm looking forward to that game the most because if Texas goes up there and wins for all those reasons, but then you have a couple of games to cushion the play with to still get the playoff. And by the way, in our chat today, Blake, they're talking about how cool you are of a customer, and people can't imagine you ever being mad. So I'm going to make Blake mad. Hey, Colt, send a $50 super chat in, and people will see Blake get mad. If you want to see Blake get mad, Colt, send in the big super chat.
Luckily, Colt's at school and won't be, or he better not be watching.
He's watching.
He better be paying attention in first period. But
he's in health. He's in health class in first period. You know, he's actually not doing anything.
Do it, Colt.
Nobody does anything in health class. It's the greatness of what ninth grade is.
Somebody's asking when the last time Michigan lost at home. I'll see if I can find that.
That's a good question. Hey, I want to go back to the Lone Star announcement yesterday. Two Broke to Pay Attention. It says, will the Lone Star Showdown have a trophy for the winner of the game? If so, will it be something wearable like the Red River Rivalry Trophy or more of a standalone trophy?
It used to be a boot, didn't it? A silver boot?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so Jerry, did they have that on display there, or was that
not? They did not.
Not on display. I would imagine it's a boot, a silver boot, but we'll see.
Michigan's won 22 straight games at home, so they add that one to the list too.
Wow.
28 regular season, 22 at home. That's the call. Those are big numbers.
That's the second longest home winning streak to Georgia's 25, which Texas will break next year.
Oh, jeez. Jerry just calling for it right now, man. You're giving people bulletin board 15 months ahead, dude.
I figure George will be up to like 45 100-mile-an-hour speeding tickets by then.
That's terrible.
Dude.
If they don't put those guys in Uber soon, they're gonna get the record numbers.
Uber needs to do an NIL deal with the University of Georgia. There is no doubt.
100%. All right, let's get to some super chats here as we have quite a few of them. And we're going to start with Osauce the Destroyer. Thank you, Osauce. He says, is Texas going to have something different to compete for a title in their first year in the SEC?
What does that mean? Is Texas going to have something different?
I actually think yes.
What do you mean by that, though, Jerry? What's the question? Different. I'm thinking from what is it going to take to win football games standpoint? Different. I think Texas has to be an even more physical team on the offensive line because they're playing much bigger and better athletes on the defensive line week in, week out. And two, they got to sack the quarterback more. That, to me, that's the whole deal for Texas this year. What do you have to do? Something different? Yes, they have to become even more physical on the offensive line because I think more physicality on the offensive line equals better running the football in the red zone and just physicality overall. Because, look, we kind of went through it. Rod, CJ, and I went through that ESPN mock draft. How many of those D linemen alone Texas is going to face that are ranked, they're mocked to be first rounders, but that doesn't count the second, third, fourth, and fifth round guys. I mean, this is going to be the best D line talent Texas has faced in a season in a while on a schedule. In a while. So you got to bring it physically. You got to bring your physicality and you got to bring your hat. And that will be big in the red zone, run the football on short yardage, running the football against bigger, better athletes on the defensive front on a more consistent basis. And then two, the next step for the Texas defense, for me, everybody talks about secondary, it's pass rush for me. If Texas can get up to 39 or 40 sacks, that means they've hit the quarterback a lot more. And that means you're changing offense's timing. And you have the ability to get in the quarterback's head a little bit more than in past seasons. I do know, thinking about that question, I think what Texas has to do categorically different against SEC than they did against Big 12 teams is they have to execute at a higher ratio in the red zone. You're not going to get as many trips to the red zone in the SEC. And so when you get down there, it's important to score 7 instead of 3. The opportunities are a little scarcer, in my opinion. And so if the path to the SEC for Texas has to be different this year. It's not so much that they have to be high flying, high scoring, all of that stuff. I think they have to, I personally think they have to go after it and be better in the red zone. You can't have your field goal kicker attempt 30-something field goals. That's just a lot of wasted opportunity in a league where scoring is a little scarcer. So execution in the red zone for me is what I think Texas has to do differently than a year ago. They're just not going to get as many chances.
Hey, Blake, bring up the schedule one more time before we go to our next thing. Okay, so Michigan, potentially 2 first-rounders and an edge guy that is Josiah Stewart is getting a lot of run too. They got 3 guys. Mississippi State, they may not have a name anybody knows. Somebody on their front is going to be a drafted player. Oklahoma's going to be improved there. Georgia, all 3. Mikael Williams will be a first-rounder off of his upside, but production-wise, he hasn't been that guy yet. He'd prefer to play standing up versus being what he is, and that's holding him back. But they have multiple guys that are going to be mid-round draft picks on their defensive line. Florida will have a couple of guys drafted. Arkansas defensive front may be the strength of their team. They'll have a guy or 2 drafted. Kentucky may have the best D tackle in the country. A&M will have 1 first-rounder. Shamar Stewart maybe a second, third-round type of guy. Probably have another guy drafted. This D-line, this D-line schedule that Texas is going against us, it's gonna test Texas' physicality at the point of attack.
Forgot I was muted. We got more super chats here. This next one for you, Bobby, from Cinco de Mayo. Thank you, Cinco. And he says, really fun season kickoff event last night in Dallas. It was great meeting you, Bobby.
Nice meeting you today. It was good stuff. I mentioned, that was just a great event and a great way to kick off the season. If you are in the Dallas area and not a member of the Dallas Texas Exes, go be a part of it. It was a fun thing. There were young people there. There were older people there. There were people in between, but they were all Longhorns. One of the best things about last night for me, and I wrote this morning on Texas football. I was the guys up there of them. 3 of them were former Longhorns players: Fozzie Whitaker, Alex Okafor, and Tony Hills. Jerry. And the great thing to see about that was there they are 10, sometimes 15 years removed, almost 20 years removed from when they played at Texas. And all of them still have the Texas, the Texas pride in their chest. And they're all successful human beings with businesses and families. And I felt like I felt very sitting amongst them. I was like very proud of what they've done for themselves and how Texas, in any small part, in any small way, has helped them on their path. I mean, I thought that was an excellent event, and I think the people that supported that were terrific too. So nice to meet you, Dave. I found out his real name. His real name is not Cinco de Mayo, by the way.
Who would have guessed? We got another super chat here from Michael. Thank you, Michael. And he says, Ricky Churchman, number 8, 3-year starter on great defensive teams in the late 70s.
Michael, I saw that. That's why I put that up there and mentioned Ricky Churchman earlier. DB out of Pearland High School. He also played in Pearland Little League Baseball, according to my dad back in the day.
And then a big super chat from Jerry's Jack Links. Thank you, Jerry's Jack Links, as always. He says,
That's
happy
Colt.
Friday, fellas.
That's actually Colt. You'll see that later.
No, it's not. I will go sign him out right now and chew him out in the way. This money goes to the Bobby doing the Manscaped ad read fund.
Okay, so here's
Jerry, I'm in a particular mood today. Send me the read and I'll do it today. Okay. One day only.
No, let's do it this way. If Texas covers 33.5, you do it the day after Colorado State.
It's fine with me. I was trying to be nice, but
I'll send it now.
Down the road, I'm willing to let him.
I'm sending it now. You're on it.
Rolling that one. He's doing it today. We got to give the people what they want.
Oh, no.
Well, while Jerry gets ready to send that, I need to tell everybody out there about HelloFresh. And if I can get it here, with HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. You can skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why they're America's #1 meal kit. We all know that home-cooked meals are so much better for you, but you don't always have time to pull them off. But with HelloFresh handling all the meal planning, the shopping, and most of the prep, it's easier than ever to get dinner on your table quick and painless. And that's what makes it great. It's so quick and so easy. School's in full swing. My wife's teaching. My kids are playing football. So we all use HelloFresh because we simply don't have a lot of time. And their menu is always changing as well. So you don't get tired of eating the same thing because there's more than 50 recipes to choose from. And here's the best part. HelloFresh is going to hook you guys up with free breakfast for life. All you have to do is simply go to HelloFresh.com/freeontexas. You're going to receive 1 free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/freeontexas. And that's HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. And Jerry, if you'll be so kind to let everybody know about Gooder, I'd appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I would have them on as I normally do. They're in the car because after this show, I've got to hit the road. But look, I just got to tell you, stylish sunnies, $25 a pair. No band, no slip, no bounce. You'll see me do it on this ad read multiple times. All polarized, all fun. I wear them cycling when I do cycle, walking. Walked a little bit yesterday, driving. Hey, so I don't get sunburned driving, right? But the new product line launched, the Retro G. This is what you want to look up at Gooder. Our favorite name of the bunch. Threaten me with a good time. A UT boy super chat's what I call that. When will you be using your Gooders this summer? Let's talk about it. When will you be using them? I want you to use them in 8 days at DKR. I'll see you on Bevo Boulevard with my Gooders on. I guarantee you that. If you want to support the show and try a pair, Gooder is giving On Texas football listeners free shipping. You can go to gooder.com/On Texas, all caps, and use the code On Texas, all caps, for free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. We'll throw that out the window. 100% satisfaction, which we'll all talk about on Bevo Boulevard. Again, that's gooder.com, On Texas, all caps. Use that code On Texas, all caps, for free shipping.
They also have some Longhorn sunglasses, by the way, branded. Check those out. And they are $25 a piece mostly. And I told you about this, Jerry. I bought like 4 pair because I'm horrible. Like I hate it, man. I go buy these. I did it when I was younger and trying to appeal to, my better half more at that time in my life. I would go buy these $200 pair of sunglasses, and then I would leave them somewhere and just feel miserable about it, right? I don't feel miserable if I misplace a pair of $25 sunglasses.
Right.
A little bit different.
Yeah. I had 4 pair. I've lost 1. So I've down to 3. It happens.
There you go. But it feels different if that would have cost $250.
Yes. Honestly, I wouldn't wear it. I just let my eyes sunburn. All right, at $250 a pop. Okay, say, Bobby, here's a question. People are asking about our plans for game week. So let's kind of go over our game week plans because it's here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be down in Houston. You and I will be in Houston on Thursday. We have a Houston get-together. It's going to be at Little Woodrow's in Webster. That'll be from, I think, 6 to 8 on Thursday night. It's sponsored by Yingling Flight, the low-carb drink from Yingling. And then also by Faust Distributing, the Faust family, big Longhorn advocates. So we're going to be down there. There's also going to be a giveaway at that event. They're giving away like a $350 stove type or fire pit type thing that's really cool. So please join us. That's 6 to 8 at Little Woodrow's in Webster, Texas. And then on Friday, Jerry, we are at not only are we doing the morning show, I'm driving to Austin late Thursday night, going to get up and do the morning show with Coffee and Football. And then Friday afternoon, we're going to the co-op from 3 to 4 each and every home game Friday. You and I and Rod Babers will be at the Co-op broadcasting live there. They have a Friday happy hour. After that, we're going to go over to the Victory Lap, which is about 100 yards from the Co-op, actually. So after you go get your gear at the Co-op, you can come in, have a beer with us. That's also going to be done with the Yingling as well over at the Victory Lap in West Campus. Good place. We're not going to do a show from there, but we are just going to hang out, have a little fun on a Friday afternoon. But please join us. And then Saturday, boy, we've got 2 different tailgates we're going to. One of them is a wine garden party called from Flat Creek Estate. Our good friends over there, Neil, Eva, and Sean will all be there. And then also we're going to be up at the On Texas Football Surly Horns tailgate up on LBJ Lawn. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. And Jerry, as Jerry is wont to do, will be roaming Bevo Boulevard looking for people to talk to. So that's going to be one of the fun things we do this year. Hopefully you guys can join us. And if you can't be at the game, we will have you covered. We're going to do a 1-hour live from the stadium, we think. And we're going to do a watch with us. Aaron Hogan is doing that again this year. And then we've got the post-game show coming up. That'll be myself, Rod Babers, and Brian Robeson, the former Longhorn, will be joining us for that as well. So we're excited about all of those aspects of on Texas football and this whole season. We're going to try to do this one up right, man.
Hey, Blake, I'm going to hit a couple of questions. Ekim, I saw your earlier question. You asked any high school games for me this week. Not this week. Watch a little bit on TV. We'll get going on that. I'm probably going to get going on that. I'm more of a practice guy early in the season. And then more games later in the season. I like to go see the kids in the practice setting. And to this point, are you seeing KJ Lacey and Diabell during their seasons? I do plan on that. It may be more practices than games. I really like the practice setting. The longer I've been in this, a lot of the games are televised. Can watch those. I'll go to some games as well, but I really like the practice settings to go really dial in on guys, talk to the coaching staffs when it's not game day, and kind of see some of the younger prospects, and to kind of do more of what I like to do in terms of visiting players there. So Diabell playing on ESPN tonight at 7. There you go. By the way, if you tune in, and you should tune in to watch Diabell, he may have, I guess Keelan Russell at Duncanville has an argument, but Diabell may have the fastest group of receivers in the country at American Heritage in Plantation, Florida. 3 guys off the number 2 ranked 4x1 team in the country. Atascocita broke the national record. American Heritage also broke that national record, but was second behind Atascocita. But all 3 of those guys were sophomores. And they have a receiver that's currently a 2026 committed to Miami. I think he'll bump to 2025 possibly. Then the other 3 guys are juniors, twins, last name of Bennett. One of them's got about 15 offers. And there's another kid that ran 10.29 as a freshman and will probably be the top 200-meter kid in the country the next 2 years, almost was this year. So American Heritage has a lot of speed at wide receiver.
Let's jump over to this, if I can find it here. We talked about Jonah Williams a minute ago, so let's do this super chat regarding Jonah Williams, because we've had quite a few people join. And Mikey says, "Hook 'em, fellas. Thanks for all you do. Do either one of you have an opinion on Steve Wiltfong's Fong bomb that he dropped about Jonah Williams to the Longhorns yesterday?"
I mean, I've been at 65%. I mean, that's the second bomb on the same player, by the way. So just to be clear, there's in the industry, there's people have picked literally 4 schools for him over his recruitment. So
and then end up on the one that he goes to, and then their record looks like it's 100%.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, that's part of what it is. I mean, it is confirmation to some point about what Jerry has been reporting here. But until he says Texas, let's see what happens. Hey, Jerry, real quick, Nick Brooks announces today at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, we will absolutely be live at that time, correct? That's our plan for today with Nick Brooks?
Yeah, that's our plan, is to be live at 3, a little bit before 3.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, so Odin Horns follows up on this. Jonah going to MLB anyway? No. Actually, no. That was the big news that we happened to break because I was just at Galveston Ball the first day of practice, not because we knew this was coming. Actually, I'm reals being real. I just happened to be at Galveston Ball for their first practice. And I was talking to Jonah. We always talk hoops because they've been in the Friendswood district where I played and live. And so we got some background there. And we've always talked hoops. And I said, "Are you playing hoops this year?" And he said, "Nah, I'm not playing hoops." And I just figured, okay, he's just concentrating on baseball. So then we start the video interview, which you can find in the archives here at On Texas Football. And he said, "No, I'm graduating high school in December." And it took me a second to kind of respond to that because I was like, that's not what I expected him to say. We had not been told anybody. That's why that was breaking news that day that he had decided to graduate from high school in December. So essentially he's bypassing the MLB draft. He's made a football decision first and a baseball decision second. So no, he will not be in, unless he totally changes course, he will not be in the MLB draft. He plans to graduate from high school in December. He plans to go through college, spring football at the college he picks and try to play baseball. And the second, Bobby, I believe he becomes that scholarship athlete at college, he's out for 3 years of the MLB draft.
No, it's choosing football.
Yep. He made a football first decision.
Yeah, that is what that was. And that's why it was such a big deal because, Jerry, frankly, you and I talked all year. Is he one of the best football players in the state of Texas? Unquestionably. But what was his true value as a recruit? It was hard to rate him a 5-star when you thought he might be going in the MLB draft.
No doubt.
And so what do? Right? You're a coach and you just, Texas recruits through the whistle, and that's what happened. And I think they may get some benefit of that here coming up on Saturday. That's at 6:30 Saturday. Jerry, you're down there for that as well, I take it?
I'll be there.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's going to be fun. Hopefully it turns burnt orange and white down in the Galveston sunset.
I'm hoping, and look, we're not saying Jonah's got to announce his decision, right? This is recruiting. You got to remember Josiah Sharma went to bed the night before he announced having given Texas why he's going to Texas quotes, right? And then he went committed to Oregon, then he since flipped to Texas. So this is recruiting now. But I'm hoping Casey Hampton's around Saturday because I'd love to do a video interview with Casey for all you guys too.
Okay. I want to read this super chat, and it's going to lead us into the next thing here. Oh, Sauce the Destroyer, thank you once again. He says, "Where is the Manscaped ad, Bobby Burton?" So with
just
that,
1 second, just one.
He's going to go off for a second.
Oh, Bobby's computer went out. That's a shot.
Apparently.
No. He's got change. He's getting in the mode.
All right, Bobby. I'm not even putting up the big Manscaped banner. I'm only giving you this one so everybody can take it in.
No. You at least have to give me cover, Blake.
Come on. For a little bit. How about that?
Fellas, do you want your grooming routine to be a one-and-done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your private parts, I've never done that, are over thanks to your friends and our friends at Manscaped. They've come up with the ultimate package to keep your hairs trimmed from 12 to 6. Introducing the Beard and Balls Bundle, featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger, a trimmer for the moneymaker and another for the boys downstairs. Get 20% off free shipping with code ONTEXAS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code ONTEXAS at manscaped.com. For the premium grooming experience, trust Manscaped. Say goodbye to endless passes. This trimmer gets it right the first time, cutting through the bushiest of bushes effortlessly while being gentle on the skin and your delicate places. With 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, you can choose between a precise trim or a smooth finish. I cannot read this with a straight face sometimes. And did I mention it's waterproof? Yes, you can trim in the shower and avoid making a mess everywhere. Perfect for those of us who appreciate efficiency. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code ONTexas at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code ONTexas at manscaped.com. No more juggling. No more juggling multiple tools or dealing with subpar results. Just efficient, effective grooming wherever you need it. Manscaped.com, code ONTexas.
Love it. Hey, by the way, Sandman has some good suggestions for people to do Manscaped reads. Reggie Bush and Jeff Bush.
Oh man. Thank you, Bobby. I think all the viewers, thank you. Bevo, thank you for the super chat. He says that was nuts. No pun.
I like it.
Any pun intended. Great work, Bobby.
I'm so happy it's waterproof. I mean, was it like an electrical charge down there or something? If it wasn't,
no. Look, I've actually tested that out. It is waterproof. I wouldn't say that otherwise because people could get hurt.
It works well. All right. We got a ton of super chats, guys, so we got to just jump right into them. Mike Gosnell, thank you, Mike. He says, what's an early scouting report on Colorado State? Are they a pass-first offense?
Very much air raid style. They like to toss the ball around the yard. They have a tremendous, Mike, they actually have a guy at receiver that would start for Texas. Like he might be receiver one. Some people have him going in the first round of the draft. His name's Torrey Horton. He lit up. The one game I did watch full on from Colorado State last year was the game against Colorado early in the season. And Horton he's a tough receiver. He's not small, so he can get a little physical. He's got speed. He's got really feathery hands. And they've got a quarterback that can get it to him. And if any team will remind you, even though it's on a lower level than what Texas Tech used to do, that's the kind of offense they run. Now, will they be able to protect their quarterback enough against Texas, run the ball at all to provide any sort of, balance? I don't think so. But they definitely have a pass-first offense. Their defense is a typical, and I say this in a kind way, it's very typical of a lower level group of five defense in that they just don't have the depth. They have pieces, but they don't have the overall depth that should be able to compete with Texas at that level.
Couple of things there. 501 pass attempts, 332 rushing attempts last year. It's a big number. And by the way, you think they got some really good receivers in Fresno? Torrey Horton, Washington Union high out of Fresno. A class maybe the same year as Xavier Worthy. Same class. They came out of high school together in Fresno.
All right. Our next super chat, fellas, comes from, if I can find it here, Longhorn Frenzy 1. Thank you, Longhorn Frenzy. Are y'all just as excited for that McNeese versus Tarleton game as I am tomorrow? Seriously, football is back. It's the best time of the year.
I'm excited, but I'm excited. And I think it's 11 a.m. kick central for the FSU Georgia Tech game. I'm excited about that game because look, I want to see what FSU looks like with DJ at quarterback versus Jordan Travis. That depth, they definitely won't have the QB run game threat they had last year. Keon Coleman's not walking through that door on that team this year. There are very few legitimate Power 5 level basketball players that were also wide receivers that have the high point ability he had with the athleticism after the catch. Total stud in college football. Then they lost Jared Verse. They lost some pretty good pass rushers, but I've told this story. I ran into the D coordinator at FSU at a high school in the Houston area going to see prospects as he was seeing those same prospects. So, we're at a talented school. And I said, man, y'all lost some really good players on defense. We were just having a little brief conversation before the athletic period started. He was like, we may be better on defense next year. I was like, whoa. I was was kind of taken aback because FSU was really dang good on defense last year. You get after the passer. So if they are, Haynes King will be running for his life in Dublin tomorrow mid-morning. But also because of Haynes King has started to develop. He's come along for Georgia Tech. He has that threat with his legs. If Haynes King plays a relatively clean game tomorrow, Georgia Tech could that 11.5 number may be high. I don't know if it's still 11.5.
Hey, I'm sorry. I thought that game was at 8 or 9 a.m. and it's showing 11 a.m. I mentioned right because I saw maybe game day coverage on ESPN starts at 9.
Look, here's a good one. SMU at Nevada. I mean, there's 3 former Horns starting, 2 for sure. 3 that are going to play key roles for Nevada, and they're playing SMU, new to Power 4 football. Billy Walton at SMU, obviously. So there's some that's actually an interesting game. Did Delaware State ever make it to Hawaii? They missed.
Oh yeah, this is Did people hear about this? Did we talk about this? Delaware State. You did talk about it?
No, we didn't talk about it.
We did. Yeah, Delaware State. For those unaware, playing first game of the year at Hawaii, they had to put their team on several different commercial planes headed to Hawaii because of a bus problem to the airport. So talk about the haves and have-nots in college football. I mean, frankly, flying commercial is not the way to go with a football team to Hawaii.
Delaware to Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean, Philly probably down there. But my point being, that's tough, man. Think about trying to be that coach, getting all those guys there.
And by the way, as somebody said they like SMU big over Nevada, I do agree with that, by the way.
More
it's Jeff Choate's first job. 3 Longhorns in the 2 deep for Nevada, by the way. 3 former Longhorns. Keaton Crawford is not only the starting safety for Nevada, he's also the starting kick returner. How about that, Jerry? So Keaton Crawford will also be the kick returner. Chris Ross and Savion Red are both second string for Jeff Choate's new team up in Nevada, the former Longhorn assistant linebacker coach.
Oh, Tarleton State celebrating 125 years. There you go. Yep. By the way, Billy Gillespie's their basketball coach.
That's right.
For those that forget that. But Billy, a tremendous basketball mind.
And Jeff Carey with the next super. And thank you, Jeff. He says we need to step up our water boy game. Huge factor.
Yes. 96 degree. I looked at this this morning, by the way. It's the first time I looked at the predicted weather for Texas versus Colorado State. High of 96 scheduled for next Saturday in Austin. Sunny skies, apparently 96 degrees. I also just happened to look at Colorado State's weather today. High of 86 and almost 0 humidity in Fort Collins.
That's
96 in Austin is going to be a little bit different for the Rams when they come calling.
That second half is going to be miserable for Colorado State players.
They'll be in the sun too, that whole day baking.
Yeah.
There's not enough porticools or whatever those things are they put on the sideline to keep you out of that heat, man.
By the way, Colin Simmons is twitched up and he's an unbelievable pass rusher. He's going to look even quicker in the second half going against those offensive linemen at Colorado State.
As long as Colin Simmons doesn't get himself having problems with cramps. Yeah. I mean, this is always a cramp game, right? For Texas players and opponents.
And fans.
Of the year. Yeah.
And fans.
Yeah. Well, yes, that's true. As long as it's not a brain cramp in more of a physical cramp.
Hey, Brandon Huey, is next Saturday when you're running the 40 on Bevo Boulevard, Brandon Huey? Because it's going to be pretty hot, man. Gatorade electrolytes. I can't remember when he's running the 40. Oh, that's if Madden Faramo commits to Texas.
He's going to run 40. He's going to run the 40 in Birkenstocks. That's going to be his job.
By the way, Kendrick Blackstar. Somebody's saying Kendrick Blackstar's at UTSA, but the running back Woods, Kai Woods, is also with Nevada.
Oh, forgot about him. I don't think he was in the first. He wasn't in the 2 deep. I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
Savion Red was though. He was the second team running back.
All right, it's 420 somewhere. Thank you for the super chat. It says, looking at the 2026 class, the state of Texas only has 5 players in the top 50. Is this just a down year for in-state recruiting on elite talent? It's also early.
It's also early, but maybe a little bit. Look, there's some years where it's going to be some ebbs and flows, and I do think just looking at 2026 in Texas, it may not be as top heavy. The depth in the state's going to be unbelievable. There's no down years in Texas anymore, but we'll see if a little more cream rises this year during their junior season, but maybe a little bit. I think there's something to that.
I want to know where Jalen Lott is ranked right now. Is he ranked in the top 50 in the country?
Let me look. Let me look where people have.
I was texting with Lance Taylor, the former Longhorn linebacker, yesterday, and he was asking me about Lance likes recruiting. And he was asking me about a couple of players, and I sent him back Jalen Lott's tape, and I go, because James played at Texas, his dad, and Lance knows him. So very interesting there. But I looked at Jalen Lott's tape again yesterday, Jerry. He's class of 2026. He's an elite kid. Yeah, I don't know if he's top 50 or not, but that would be my point, is if he's not, he's going to eventually be there.
I went by Panther Creek High last week when I was in Dallas and talking with the head coach there. Coach Surratt does a really good job. Distantly related to Coach Surratt at Carthage. Distantly related. But they think the same. They think he's just as good at corner as he is at wide out. He's one of those guys. He's legitimately probably a top 100 level kid in the country at either position. Big time player.
Yeah, he makes a lot of competitive catches for a sophomore in high school on his tape. Yep. A lot. And we know he has speed, and we know, did he win the high jump, or what was the
he's got really good COD. He can really change directions.
Yeah. Big time player. James Lott's, for the older people out there, James Lott played DB at the University of Texas.
He high jump 6'4", long jump 21, 10.5.
He was in the state meet in a couple different things.
Yeah.
Our next super chat comes from, if I can find it here, it's 420 somewhere once again. So thank you again. It says, donating to the Bobby Burton Therapy Fund after reading Manscaped ad. We all know about Horton for Colorado State, but who else should Tech fans watch out for on that team on offense and or defense?
I'm not sure watch out for, but the quarterback is a former Aledo High standout, Fowler Nicolsi. He was a freshman last year. If his interception numbers go down, they'll be better than 5 and 7, but not turning over the ball is a big key for them. I need to look into their defense a little bit more. See who they have, if anybody from the state of Texas, right? That would be a known guy for high school football and recruiting fans. They were at a lot of seniors on defense, though, amongst their top tacklers last year. I will say that.
8 of their top 11 on defense, 8 of their 11 starters are either seniors or grad transfers.
Yeah.
So my comment when I was talking about earlier about how they don't necessarily have the depth or top end guys, they're going to try to make up for it with playing smart brand of football.
And Jack, this one's for you, Jerry. Thank you, Jack, as always, for the super chat. He says, Jerry, is Chris Jackson talking to Dia Bell's receivers? I know you touched on that a little bit ago, and secondly, thanks for explaining your rating system to the OTF OG.
Oh, yeah, that was good stuff, Jerry, by the way.
Yeah, so I think Texas is going to look at those guys this year. Now, those guys are smaller, 5'10", 5'11", 160, 165-pound guys. I think Texas is looking at those guys. They'll watch them this season. Now, one of those kids may be a track guy. I mean, he may be like a college pro track guy. The kid that ran, I got to find his 200-meter time, but it was ridiculous as a sophomore. But the Bennett brothers as college prospects in football for sure are getting looks from Texas. And look, American Heritage is one of the most talented programs in the country. They have a number of guys down there. Now, how many of those guys are you actually going to pull out of Broward County to Texas? I don't know. I mean, Diabell's a quarterback, Steve Sarkisian, that whole nine. It's a little tougher out of Broward County at times, but that's one of the most talented programs in the state of Florida and the Southeast. They've had Pat Surtain Jr. Pat Surtain used to be a head coach there when I was ESPN Under Armour, go through there multiple times a year. Tyson Campbell, Brian Burns, the edge out of FSU. I mean, they have had a number of guys come through that program that were elite talents nationally. they're going to continue to have guys come through American Heritage at that school. They've had big-time defensive linemen, offensive linemen, skill guys, running backs, you name it, linebackers. They've had it all come through that school in the last decade, and they will continue to.
And our next super chat comes from Jay Lee, and he says, not sure what his future is outside of Longhorn Network, but if he doesn't get picked up by someone, you all should steal old Galindo.
Well, Lowell actually still has a gig with ESPN. He's covering, he and Fozzie, by the way, are calling the McNeese Tarleton State game on Saturday for ESPN. So Lowell's still working. Alex Loeb, I actually got a text from him the other day. He was a former LHN guy. I'm supposed to be talking to him soon. Hopefully we can, talk to some of these guys and see if they want to be part of Coffee and Football or something like that for Longhorn folks who are interested in that.
David Keith Williams has a couple of really good questions. Bobby, I want us to hit on this. And this is a second question, but I want to hit this one first. I also think Lance Jackson, Bo Barnes, and Nick Townsend are potential 5-star recruits of the great senior seasons. And that was a question that came after this one. Texas currently has 6 3-star recruits, depending on what you look at. Which do you think get rankings increases? I think John Williams and Cunningham are 4 stars. We already have those guys as 4-star guys, which to me means like top 375 level prospect in the country. That's kind of your cutoff for a 4-star guy. A 4-star plus guy is like a top 150 guy in the country. A 4-star plus guy for me is like a top 75 in the country. Then your 5-star guys are obvious. And I kind of go that direction because I want to see senior seasons. I want to see what these guys do, to David Keith Williams' point. Lance Jackson, Nick Townsend, I mean, not many tight end prospects. Now, if Nick's ranked as an athlete, are going to be 5-star guys. But Nick Townsend may be a 5-star football player. Lance Jackson, upside, the height, the frame, the speed, all of it. He's close right now. Smith Orogbo, see what he does as a senior now with 15 pounds of muscle, more muscle and definition on him now in his 4th year of playing football, organized football. Bo Barnes is interesting. Not many linebackers get ranked there.
It's typical. I've been covering recruiting for 30 years, and it's really easy for people to rank wide receivers and quarterbacks, the sex appeal positions, so to speak, highly, right? And I think they overdo it in college, in high school recruiting. Like you'll see an inordinate amount of quarterbacks in the top 100 of a top 100 class or whatever among ranking of recruits. It won't be the same as the number who go 1 through 100 in a NFL draft, for example. There'll be more top 100 quarterbacks than there are top 100 draft picks that are quarterbacks. And the reason why is the importance of the position. Some rankers, I think, kind of don't want to miss on a quarterback because that tends to look bad on them. So they'd rather have the quarterback at number 98 than number 198 in case they're right or in case they're wrong a little bit on them. And so positions like linebacker, defensive end, tight end, they don't have the sex appeal of those. And so they get kind of, even though they're really good football players, they just don't get the benefit of the doubt, I think, like some skill position guys do. And that's why you see a push down of rankings overall at those positions. I mean, look, offensive line has 5 players that have to start on your team. Yet there have been years where there have been more quarterbacks in the top 100 than offensive linemen. So you tell me. I mean, I'm not saying that's the case this year. I haven't looked it up, but that was 5-10 years ago when I looked it up, and I was like, that's just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. Tyler Rollo question. We'll reset this. What time does Nick Brooks announce? 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. We'll have our afternoon live stream 1 to 2. We'll be back at 3 p.m. live for that Nick Brooks announcement. And then tomorrow on Saturday, 6:30-ish is Jonah Williams, and that'll be in Galveston, and I'll be down there. And I'm quite sure we'll be live for that one as well.
Why would we be live, Jerry? Why would we want to do that?
If Casey Hampton's there.
Casey tells you have to go live.
I want Casey on a live show. But we got the first time we get Casey on a show is going to be awesome. The second time will be when we get him and Sean Rogers on the show at the same time.
We need to get them sitting side by side.
Yeah.
Over at TJ Ford.
With their jerseys on.
Yeah.
Justin Yarborough, I got to read this super chat because this goes to both of our high schools here. I was disappointed to see friends of non-Texas City schedule with the Battle by the Bay rivalry gone. Ball High is now our rivalry game. Ball High is in week 2 against Texas City. That'll be a big time game down there. Let's see how that happens. See what happens there. Friendswood actually next Thursday, their season opener against Fort Bend Marshall. So the Friendswood offense better bring their hard hat.
Friendswood offense better, and they better not get run by.
Yeah,
because Marshall has some guys that can go.
Yeah, Marshall has Caleb Chester, the corner committed to Texas, who football intelligence may be a 7-star based on the interviews with Rod when we had him on live stream. You can go archive that one somewhere. Rod was, I think, taken aback by him explaining the play, going through every single play on his huddle for about the first 10 of them. And then they have Isaiah Williams, one of the top 2026 safeties in the country. Big time guy. The best way I can explain Isaiah Williams is that's what Alabama and Georgia's been playing with for the past decade. Then they have the linebacker Noriel Dominguez, and they got a lot of talented kids over at Fort Bend Marshall, some younger kids, but no lack of speed and athleticism at Fort Bend Marshall. They may not have the quarterback necessarily they once did, or maybe be quite as big on the lines, but their skill kids are still really good.
Okay. Bobby, if you would be so kind as to let people know about our sponsor, BKCW, and escaping the insurance trap, I would definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Today's show being brought to you by our friends at BKCW Insurance. Did your business have a frustrating insurance or employee benefits renewal? Most likely you didn't hear from your agent all year, and then right before it was time to renew, your agent delivered the bad news of a rate increase with no time to look for any other options. When this happens, the agent is providing no value and you're stuck in what we call the insurance trap. BKCW takes your business out of the insurance trap by providing you with actual risk management consulting, not just price quoting. Operating out of its headquarters in Austin, Texas, and owned by a UT grad, BKCW uses a 5-step process to identify your business's weak spots, design a plan, execute it, and monitor your situation throughout the year so that you can lower your insurance costs and effectively manage your company's risk and employee benefits. Get started with a free risk assessment at bkcw.com or send them an email, info@bkcw.com, to get started and get the support you deserve. Again, info@bkcw.com. Send them an email. They'll at least take a look and give you their thoughts on your business.
Hey, Blake, real quick. Blake Jester has a comment I need to get to. I'm from Sulphur Springs. We have a big-time OL 2026. He is Vincent Johnson. Yes, he is. Offensive line in Texas. There are no down years on the offensive line in Texas anymore. Obviously, John Turntine, Toa Katoa at the top of that list, but Vincent Johnson, really talented kid. Oklahoma, TCU, Tech, some others have offered him. He's very good. There's Nicholas Robertson at Klein. There is a number of elite offensive line prospects in Texas in 2026. Really good year.
All right, guys. Our last one for today is a super chat here from Naaman Roberts. He says, can you guys give some praise to Jordan Whittington? Was he a 5-star recruit that got hit by injuries? And I'm going to put this up here, guys. Whittington's preseason ranks among rookies, 11 receptions, which is first, and 126 yards, which also happens to be first. He's been putting on a show, y'all.
He is, and I was reading. He looks like he's going to be wide receiver 4 for the Rams, and so I think he's going to make the team. 6th round pick, going to make the team on a team that has really good receivers and really smart receivers. I mean, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are as smart a receiver group as you're going to get. And so I think going there, that's just a great match for Jay Witten. I'm glad he's giving him his flowers, or whatever you want to call it these days, whatever that term is. He deserves them, and twice over. Adonai Mitchell had a touchdown catch yesterday also. That was good. Xavier Worthy continues to do well in Kansas City. JT Sanders sounds like he's going to start at Carolina. So that whole group, Tavondre Sweat, Byron Murphy as well. Jonathan Brooks still out, and they say probably 5-6 games in. He'll get the call at Carolina. But that whole group, hopefully they just keep on keeping on. Has anybody heard anything more about Ryan Watts since we talked to him last week? Has anybody heard an update on Ryan?
I have not expected.
He was like a dark horse to make that team.
No, they're expecting him to make the team from what I've seen, but I haven't looked in the last week. By the way, we need to talk about this before we get out of here, Bobby. Game day type of walkthrough, not true scrimmage tomorrow for Texas.
Correct. Sark called it a simulated game day.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do. Get people used to taking the bus to the game, getting on the field and stretching at the right amount of time, then going back to the locker room, then getting everybody out there on the field, et cetera. He wants to simulate a football game tomorrow. That's job one, because he's going to have several freshmen or redshirt freshmen out there, and he doesn't want them to overload their senses when he gets them out there. He wants them ready to go, including Jarrett Gibson, who looks like he's going to have a real role on this team as a true freshman, by the way.
Yeah.
Running.
Forgot I was muted once again. All right, y'all, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football presented by BKCW. We want to thank them, along with HelloFresh, Manscaped, and, of course, Gooder for sponsoring today's show. Thank you all for tuning in, for the great questions, the super chat. We really do appreciate everybody's support out there. The guys will be back later today. Nick Brooks at 3 o'clock. So I know y'all will be covering that. And then you got stuff all weekend, right, Bobby?
Yeah. Jonah Williams tomorrow at 6:30 is huge. Jerry will be down there. We'll also have the Saturday morning conversation. We also have our season-long prediction show coming up.
Oh, I got to put my hat down on this.
Myself, Jerry Hamilton, Rod Babers, and CJ Vogel, we all got together. And this weekend, it's a longer show, but we take you through every game of the year and what we think the outcome will be, each of us. So some good and bad there, I'm afraid, for some Longhorn fans, including from one very bad from Jerry Hamilton. That's why he's already putting his hat over his head or over his face.
Hey, good.
Shame on you, Jerry Hamilton. Shame on you.
It's going to be rough. Have a great weekend, everybody. UT boy, Brandon Huey, get those hamstrings ready. You got a race on Bevo Boulevard possibly later this year. We'll see.
Well, hey,
stretch every day.
You should race on over to ontexasfootball.com. You can become an OTF OG for $39.95 for 1 year using promo code OTFOG. No better deal out there than that. And please hit that like and subscribe button. We would definitely appreciate it. Ring the bell so you're notified anytime we go live. That way you don't miss a commitment announcement like the couple that are coming up. So no better time to be a member of OTF than right now. And between those two avenues, you'll be covered with all your Longhorn news. Well, have a great weekend. As Jerry said, we will be back on Monday. So for Bobby Burton, Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.